Okay, great. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. We do have a bit of exciting news for our community, for Douglas County, and for the metro area in Denver. We'll share that with you and get you on your way, but I am really honored. My name is Abe Layden. I'm a Douglas County Commissioner. I know we have some press with us and online. I'm really honored to be joined by Sheriff Darren Weakley. We have Phil Domenico, we have Greg and Tiffany from our HEART team. We have phenomenal elected officials in terms of Mayor Gray from Castle Rock, Jeff Toborg from Parker, Chris Eubanks, councilman from Castle Pines, as well as some of our new navigators in our HEART team. You know, in 2021, when my son and I were doing a cleanup with the sustainability team in Lone Tree and encountered an encampment of not only trash, but liquor bottles and drug paraphernalia, inappropriate, all sorts of things. And my son said, "Dad, what is going on here?" This was at the Target at Lincoln and I-25. And, we've been in Douglas County for 20 years. We're not used to seeing a whole lot of encampments or issues associated with homelessness. But during that time, we started to see that creep into our community. I immediately did what any citizen would do. I called up my local city councilman, Lone Tree Councilman Jay Carpenter, and he said, Commissioner, I'm seeing the same thing at the Chili's at Lincoln and I-25. From that point, I'm really honored and thankful that my board supported the creation of the Douglas County Homeless Initiative. And, we've been through 3 years of the Homeless Initiative, and because of the phenomenal work of law enforcement, our faith-based partners, nonprofits, the navigators, phenomenal staff. We've had some of the great, Jen Eby, Jen Eby needs to come up here. Yes, I want Jen Eby and Rand Clark too, please. These two individuals have facilitated and served the county in the Homeless Initiative alongside many other staff for years. And I'm here today to share some really good news. We had our summer point in time on July 29th, and as a result of that point in time, Douglas County is pleased to announce that we have functionally ended homelessness in Douglas County. So for us, that number looks like this. So the total number of encampments was 0. So nobody over one person was found outside. In terms of panhandling, that number is 0. The number of individuals that are unsheltered throughout the entire county of 400,000 was 6. That is about as close to functional 0 as we're going to get, but we're going to keep going. We're not going to stop there. I'm really pleased to also share that we've gone from 3 navigation teams to 5. So that HEART team, it's the Homeless Engagement Assistance Resource Team, and again, it is law enforcement paired with a professional navigator that any citizen can call. It's your tax dollars that pay for that, and you don't get a voicemail. You get a direct live person that is responsible for going out, a team that goes out in a branded vehicle and engages with those that are unhoused. We launched the HEART team as well as the Handouts Don't Help campaign. And I want to clarify, Handouts Don't Help was never about not giving. It's about redirecting generosity to a trusted resource, our Douglas County Community Foundation, which provides 100% of those resources you donate right back out into the community, and specifically through the Homeless Relief Fund for food banks, shelter, basic needs. So instead of individuals in our community rolling down their window at an intersection and feeling conflicted and saying, I don't know what to do when I see somebody with a sign, we've encouraged our citizens, don't hand out money at an intersection. And we have a tremendous sheriff that has been supportive in that regard, because it's not safe for the driver or the person asking for those funds for money to be distributed in the middle of traffic. Instead, our citizens are now donating really significantly to the Community Foundation. And like I said, those funds are serving the homeless in a trusted way where, again, 100% of those dollars are going out into the community. So we're appreciative. We have about 70 of these Handouts Don't Help signs throughout the county, including in many of our municipalities, thanks to some great partnership. So we appreciate that. But I really want to say thanks and highlight the HEART team. So that Homeless Engagement Assistance Resource Team, Tiffany and Greg started with us from the beginning. And I think, we were building the plane as it was taking off. And I could not be more thankful and appreciative and proud of what Hart has accomplished in the last 3 years. We didn't start with a massive problem in Douglas County, but we said, why wait to be great? Let's nip it in the bud now and get a handle on it. And you did. And your expertise, your compassion, and your willingness to serve has been truly tremendous. We lead with the 4 C's, like I said, we're beginning with compassion, then it's community services, communications, and code enforcement. And unfortunately, in cities like Seattle, San Francisco, and Portland, we've seen communities overrun with the problem of homelessness. We want to always be compassionate and provide the dignity of knowing who that person is and hearing their story. But where people say, no, thank you, we don't want your services, and oh, by the way, there's a warrant out for their arrest, or they're committing a crime, or there's open fentanyl abuse, or abuse of children or pets, or whatever the case may be, when our teams are out and encountering individuals, that has to be addressed as well. And the Sheriff's Office has been phenomenal about that in working with the Hart team. So it really is that wonderful pairing. So it's compassion, but also code enforcement. And for us in Douglas County, it's about reclaiming our public spaces. These are areas where our friends and family, our kids and grandkids enjoy recreating, spending time outdoors. They want to be able to go to a park and feel safe, go to a library and feel safe. I'm a 5th generation Coloradan. I was born in Denver, and our partnership throughout the metro area with fellow county commissioners, with the mayor of Denver and his council is important to us. We want to see the entire metro area succeed in a bipartisan way, and whatever solutions, resources, and collaboration we can provide, we want to be here to do that. And we do advocate at MAC, the Metro Area County Commissioners, for that increased partnership. So with that, I'd love to turn it over to our distinguished sheriff for any of his comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. This program does not work without the co-responder model. You need to have that navigator paired with the deputy sheriff, a law enforcement officer. And fortunately, in Douglas County, everybody is unified and everybody is on the same page. Whether you're talking unincorporated Douglas County, Castle Rock, Lone Tree, Parker, or Castle Pines, everybody is on the same page with eradicating homelessness in Douglas County, connecting these folks with services, not turning a blind eye to homeless encampments. And so we have our deputy sheriffs out there, our police officers out there, paired with the navigators to be proactive and to not let homelessness get a foothold in Douglas County. And it's not about politics. This is about public safety. It's about the safety of our navigators. It's about the safety of our community. And we're proud to be part of this partnership. And while this is great news, these are great numbers, our work is not over by a long shot. We are continuing to be proactive. We are going to continue to be out there and do what we can to help these folks, get them on their feet and get them the resources that they need. And we're not turning that blind eye. What would be inappropriate is to let these folks languish, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be a mental health issue. We want to connect them with services that they need. Many of the folks that we are encountering, though, are transient. They're coming through Douglas County. And so we want to make sure that we're doing what we can to ensure that our community is safe. So thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Sheriff, for that. And I really believe we have the best sheriff in the state and a community that's really committed to public safety. So thank you for those words, Sheriff. I also want to add, I know that Douglas County has had questions about sheltering in our community, and I'm really thankful that due to Jen Eby's great work and many others, we have contributed about $1.4 million to the Aurora Navigation Campus that will guarantee Douglas County 5 beds. And our view is not necessarily housing first, it's housing plus, which means that, yes, we understand trauma-informed practices, want to make sure that anybody in need of services has that housing model, but not just shelter. It's wraparound services that provide job counseling, mental health counseling. If people are dealing with substance abuse or opioid use disorders, that they're getting services associated with that as well. Legal services. So it's that wraparound model that we're really passionate about, and we believe that the Aurora Navigation Campus will represent that. So we're pleased to partner with them. Jen, I don't know if you had any additional comments on that?
I would just reiterate what Commissioner Layden has said. We are pleased to be part of a regional solution, working with the City of Aurora, Adams County, and Arapahoe County, and to have those beds available to us really does help us provide that continuum of services to help those who are unsheltered in our community get to housing. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Well, Jen is very humble, but none of this would be possible without her amazing facilitation and the great work of staff. And I see Rand Clark, who has been absolutely instrumental in this homeless initiative from the beginning. And part of the initial conversation around HEART, when we said co-response, Rand was right there with these amazing thoughts. So I would be really remiss if I didn't give an opportunity for our council member and our distinguished mayors to share some comments, because they've done great work. And specifically in Parker, there's a lot of success that this mayor has accomplished in terms of reducing the car camping and the overnight camping that was occurring in Parker. And because of your effort, we're seeing that great decline. So, Mayor?
Well, let me just start by thanking Commissioner Layden and the sheriff for all the amazing work they do. And, you know, I couldn't be more thrilled with our relationship with the HEART team. You know, I have it in my phone, and everybody should have 303-660-7301. When you see it, you got to say it, right? Because, you know, being homeless isn't a crime. It's not illegal. You know, but it's folks that need assistance. And that's what we are so glad to be able to do through this program, is to give them the assistance that they needed. When you look at these stats, we have had a 50% decrease in camping in your cars. And that's in large part, to the HEART team working with the Parker PD and working with local businesses to sign out trespass orders so that we can get them moving on, get them the help that they need. And like the commissioner said, and like the sheriff said, we're just getting started on this. This program is amazing. The expansion of the program is much needed, and we will continue to be a partner with HEART, with Parker, with the county, and we're just thrilled at these numbers. Thank you.
And Mayor Gray is pretty much at 100% of our meetings, and he is very familiar with this issue. Mayor Gray from Castle Rock.
Thank you, Commissioner. You know, one thing is it's such a great group of people who are working together to really help our homelessness. And what we've really kind of pivoted to, which I'm really proud of, is helping people stay housed, helping people not live paycheck to paycheck, helping people who need help and want help, but sometimes don't know how to ask for it. I think that's something that they were doing a really good job. In Castle Rock, we hired a full-time navigator to help with homelessness, and works arm in arm with the HEART team as well. And we're really happy with the amount of work we're getting done in Castle Rock as well as Douglas County. So I really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Mayor Gray. And this wouldn't be complete without comments from Chris Eubanks, council member from Castle Pines. I mean, people don't know this. We get paid as commissioners. Council members get paid a little bit, but you're mostly working your full-time jobs in addition to serving your community. And I have the highest level of respect for mayors and council members that serve in that way. So, Chris, did you want to share anything?
Thank you, Commissioner. I would just like to say on behalf of the City of Castle Pines, we are obviously very pleased with the results from this point in time, the results that Commissioner Layden shared today. I also just want to tell you how gracious we are to have the partnership and the relationships we do with the Douglas County Sheriff's Office, the HEART team, the Douglas County Board of County Commissioners, Douglas County in general. And the last thing I'll say is that I just want to reiterate our commitment to the unwavering support for all of these groups, again, on behalf of the City of Castle Pines. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. And my home city, the city of Lone Tree, is at a retreat today. So they're getting to hang out with each other, and we appreciate that. But we know all our municipalities have played a vital role. Well, I think it's very easy for us as a group to stand before you, but the people on the ground every day that are doing this work and laboring in the field for our citizens is the HEART team. And I would like to invite Tiffany and Craig to share any comments that you might have.
Well, HEART is just a piece of helping the homeless. So I just wanted to thank our community partners, our nonprofit partners, our faith-based organizations, our mental health team, the CRT team, the Care Compact, everybody who comes together to try to help those who are unhoused or in a crisis, trying to find ways to better their situation. And it takes a village to combat homelessness and really help these people out. So we couldn't do this without the collaboration with our community partners and our faith-based partners. So thank you.
So I know we have some shy members of the gallery that may not want to be up here with us, but they are doing really significant work for the county. And I'm looking at Mike Hill, who's our director of our new public health department, Barbara Drake, and really all of the human services representatives that are here, and Maggie Cooper. I don't know if you know this, but the reason we have HEART is because of the success of the mental health initiative, which was led by this phenomenal group. And in the mental health initiative, we have co-response. We have a number of teams, a navigator, a clinician really paired with law enforcement that go out into the community when somebody has a mental health issue. We have a lot of youth teams now that are doing great work, but it was because of that success that I leaned over to Rand and I was like, well, why can't we have co-response with our homeless initiative? And we got a little pushback at first on that, but here we are today. But that would not have occurred. We would not have HEART without the amazing work of the Mental Health Initiative. We also have representatives from reintegration, and that's a really big deal. Part of the work of the Homeless Initiative is to ensure that people leaving the Justice Center in Castle Rock don't just walk out the front door and start wandering the streets. They have an opportunity to connect with job counseling, get transportation, get the resources so that they can be a true returning citizen in our community. And that was frankly an issue that Mayor Gray raised with us in Castle Rock, and we wanted to make sure and honor that commitment. So thanks to all of you for joining us today. I will open it up for any questions from the press, either in person or online. And usually our journalists have a lot to ask us about. Oh, you're waiting for the microphone. Okay.
I'm not a very loud person. This is Ellis Arnold with Colorado Community Media and the Douglas County News Press. So I did want to touch on this. There's multiple methods of measuring homelessness, such as the Homelessness Management Information System, sometimes called HMIS, which tracks people who use homelessness services metro-wide. That count is sometimes tens of thousands of people higher than the point-in-time count, Denver metro-wide. I'm not sure if there's an HMIS count specifically broken out for Douglas County, but given this is a one-day snapshot and homeless people tend to be transient often, is it fair to say there's zero unsheltered homelessness in Douglas County?
Yes, I think that's a really good question. And, the approach, and I'll have Rand share some of the specifics in terms of the count, but it's comprehensive and it's real time. So, we really appreciate the partnership with the Metro Denver Homeless Initiative. They recently just certified the winter point in time. And that's wonderful. It's great news for Douglas County. We're still the lowest in the metro area, but that was 8 months ago. So our HEART team actually counts on a monthly basis. We get that reporting in real time, so we know exactly the number of people in our community that are facing a housing crisis. And the really exciting news is that the HEART team knows them by name. I mean, these are not just numbers. They really make a point to get to know who these individuals are and what their specific needs are. And because our numbers are so low, they can do that. But Rand, did you want to talk more about the methodology?
Thank you, Rand Clark with the Department of Community Development here at the county. The HEART team does utilize HMIS, the Homeland Management and Information System, to collect data on those that they encounter, those that they serve, that they provide case management services with. And we do track that data on a regular basis. And as Commissioner Layden mentioned, we do report on how many individuals they encounter or they serve, they work with on a monthly basis. Their work is to take those individuals, those families that they serve, and find those solutions so that on a night like Monday night when we counted only 6 are outside sleeping. And so we use those as tools to gauge how we are serving and the work of the heart, and then we use things like the point in time to demonstrate the effectiveness of what they are doing in terms of the results.
Thank you, Rand. And it might help Ellis and maybe others. I know, we're all looking at that metro area data, and unfortunately, we've seen in the metro area homelessness go up. And the number in Denver is right around 6,500. Somebody will have that exact number. But that's a lot of folks in a community of 700,000. For Douglas County, we're close to 400,000. So 6 unsheltered homeless is less than 1%. So that is pretty close to functional zero. We did sign the Built for Zero pledge with our community partners. And so our commitment to our neighboring counties is to get as close to functional zero or get to functional zero if we can. So zero is not functional zero. I mean, you will have people that travel through the county from Colorado Springs to Denver or vice versa, and they're passing through, and we may encounter them. They will still receive services and contact from the HEART team, but that's not necessarily, we would consider 6 an incredibly low number. Any other questions? Yeah, Jason. Yep.
When you're making contacts and you're collecting the data, how do you distinguish between the individuals who want to be that living a lifestyle like that, but they've already been offered the services? They're in the database. At what point? What's the threshold of where another step or another level of help, or how does that flesh out? What's the criteria for that?
Yeah, and if the HEART team wants to talk about what you walk through when you encounter folks.
Yeah, so if I don't answer your question, just ask me again. But if we encounter somebody who is not interested in receiving services, we'll continue to engage in the coming days with that individual. And a lot of these individuals have trauma in their past history. It could be with law enforcement, it could be with case management. But I think if we continue to build those relationships with those individuals, we establish that trust, we establish that rapport building. And even if it's something little, like helping that individual get an ID, they feel empowered to take that next step and engage in with our team members. So I think with our persistence and engagement with some of these folks who are a little resistant, it helps go a long way with building up their trust from past trauma and history. So I think us continuing to engage helps deal with that.
Yeah, the follow-up with the person who's resistant, I'm just curious as to what's the threshold to where the resistance, because it's a lifestyle choice, what is the benchmark that says, well, you've resisted the last 3 times we contacted you, now what? Or, I mean, as far as it being a lifestyle choice, how do you determine an ordinance violation versus someone who's just like, hey, I'm just trying to live the life I want to live? As far
Yeah. Yeah, I was going to defer to the sheriff on that one.
Thanks. Essentially, we'll have those conversations. It's important to note that the officers, deputy sheriffs that are selected for these teams, they're handpicked for their ability to, de-escalate situations, build rapport, and things like that. And we'll offer these services to these individuals. And as Tiffany mentioned, we'll have repeated contacts with these folks. Bottom line is if they don't want services, they don't have to accept services. But if they're breaking the law, then we're going to enforce the law. And we're going to have a zero tolerance approach to those types of things. So, again, I don't want my jail filled with folks that are homeless. As mentioned before, homelessness is not a crime, but if the individual is engaged in other conduct that is criminal in nature, so if they have drugs on them, if they're trespassing, things like that, we are going to take enforcement action, and we are not going to turn a blind eye to these things. So another reason that we are so successful in this program, as I mentioned, we didn't allow homelessness to get a foothold in Douglas County. Other areas like Denver, other areas like Aurora, this problem has grown, and I would dare say beyond the scope of their local law enforcement to handle. We didn't allow that to occur in Douglas County, and being proactive in this area and adding those resources is certainly a help. We're not having a hiring problem at the Douglas County Sheriff's Office. I know Lone Tree, Parker, and Castle Rock, they're not having a hiring problem because this community appreciates their public safety. We're adding deputy sheriffs. They're adding police officers. They're increasing their budget to public safety where there are other areas they're reducing the amount of budget. So this is a comprehensive group effort to solve these issues. But again, at the end of the day, and quite frankly, most of these folks, they're resistant to the help that they're offering. But if they know that when they're contacted, if they're breaking the law, that we have a zero tolerance, it makes an impact on their behavior.
And this might be a question for Abe too. Where is the partnership, or where is the relationship with your county nonprofits? Is this a response to what? Is it a lack of response from nonprofits, or how do you work together? How did you come to this?
Yeah, it's a very strong partnership with our nonprofits, and we have Dan from Help and Hope that sits on our executive committee, and the Community Foundation is also an active partner that is collecting donations through this sign and where you can donate. So the Community Foundation represents about 800 nonprofits throughout Douglas County, and so that is a great clearinghouse where citizens can donate to a trusted resource, and that community the resources can go out to the proper entity. But I want to step back because I think I hear the question you're not asking, Jason, so I want to answer that. The threshold for when somebody that is service resistant has greater involvement from law enforcement is breaking the law. It's breaking the law. And I want to be very direct and candid. Places like Seattle, San Francisco, Portland, and unfortunately, my birthplace, Denver, there was a period of time when we were told you need to defund the police. The police are somehow doing the wrong thing. We don't believe that here. We don't defund the police, we fund the police. We realize in any organization there are going to be challenges, but 99.9% of the men and women serving in law enforcement are there to do the right thing, and they're putting their lives on the line to keep us safe. So telling them not to be involved in community safety is a mistake. And we've seen places like San Francisco overrun with homelessness. People don't go to San Francisco. That Eco-Devo tourism, people, the word on the street is you can't walk 10 feet without stepping over an encampment. We have a camping ban in Douglas County, so we don't allow our public spaces to be overrun with encampments. And as you've heard, we now have zero. So for us, it is about reclaiming our public spaces and also honoring the business community. I used to work as an attorney near 16th Street, and you would walk down that corridor and get asked for change or something on every corner. And there were people urinating, defecating, harassing each other right in front of a 7-Eleven or a business. How easy is it for a business owner to operate when you have that kind of interference happening outside your front door? A family, a young person, an elderly person is going to feel really nervous about walking into a storefront where that kind of activity is going on. And we know it, it's just common sense. So taking that bold step to say, no, we do want law enforcement at the table with behavioral health expertise, that's the magic that I think we're experiencing in Douglas County. Other questions? Ellis, yeah?
Yeah, I had a question. I just want to make sure to be specific about the camping ban. My understanding of Douglas County's camping ban is it applies to county-owned, unincorporated properties, so county-owned property outside of cities and towns. Are there any camping bans in Douglas County at the county level or the municipal level that apply to non-county-owned or non-city-owned property, similar to Denver's camping ban and Aurora's camping ban?
Yeah, and I don't know if we have Jeff Garcia with us or online. Wendy, do we have him?
Chris is here.
Oh, Chris is here. Chris, come on up.
Sorry, it was difficult for me to hear that question from back there. Could you repeat that?
Sorry, yeah, it's kind of long-winded. my understanding is Douglas County's camping ban applies to county-owned property that is outside of cities and towns. Are there any camping bans in Douglas County at the county level or the city level that apply to non-county-owned property or non-city-owned property, similar to Denver's camping ban or Aurora's camping ban?
Well, I would not be prepared to discuss what the local jurisdictions may have to enforce within their authority. I know that what we have applies to Douglas County and unincorporated Douglas County. So the camping ban is, as you stated, it applies to public property here in Douglas County. I don't know if the municipalities have anything they want to add to that as to whether they have anything enforceable within their jurisdictions.
Well, in the town of Castle Rock, we have a camping ban as well. It mirrors the county's camping ban. And we also have a camping ban and really a loitering ban around waters. We want to make sure our drinking water is safe, and a lot of times you'll see homelessness kind of go around water. And so we've really taken steps to make sure that people aren't, camping or being in places of water for too long, and because water needs to be safe, and so we take that pretty seriously.
And from the town of Parker, we obviously have camping bans around our gulches and streams, et cetera. With the passage of the Supreme Court ruling on Grants Pass, we're looking at, acting one for our parks that hasn't been there yet, but because of the structure clause of Grants Pass, we're feeling like we're ready to do that. But, the biggest thing for us has been the private properties, the shopping centers signing out those trespass orders. That's been the key for Parker, and I think that's why you're seeing those numbers drop so much over summer, is because we get in there, we get them to move on. So, if you want to call that a camping ban, I don't know. It's really enforcing the property rights of the shopping center owners. So, thank you.
Oh, sure. Our Director of Communications is saying that we might have some online folks that have questions. Any online questions?
I have no online questions at this time.
Okay. Well, going once, going twice. Anything else from our distinguished press? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us today. This is great news. Enjoy the rest of your day. Appreciate you.